Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Creators Lounge live show. Thank you for joining today. Excited for today. Let me do something here really quick and mute my other screen here so I don't hear myself. Yeah, it's pumped to be here. Hope your day has been going well. Excited. I would say a little exhausted. I would say the last couple of days been really using. I would say not that I don't use my brain every day, but like really stretching those creative muscles. And it's you can wear yourself out doing that. So if you've not done that, give it a shot. I'm sure you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, so what is the Creators Lounge? What is this show about? Really, it's about talking creative things. So talking about the creative process with so many different things. For example, within music, within photography, cinematography, theater. In fact, today we're talking a little bit about theater. Pretty excited about that. Art, and one of the things too is when we say creative people, or we talk about creativity, sometimes you may think, well, that's not me. I'm not creative and I'm not artistic. And it doesn't not necessarily mean you are not. I think everybody is and can be creative in different approaches. Maybe the way you solve a problem, the way you do things, you are creative, but you probably just don't realize that. But yeah, so if you are watching, if you see that subscribe button, if you here watching on YouTube, thank you so much. If you get a chance, subscribe to the channel while you're here. Don't forget, hit that like button. And if you're watching on Periscope through and Twitter, thank you as well. Do a retweet, a like, so that we can get more people to watch this. So I'm going to make sure and kind of pull up the comments here. So just in case, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to add it in the comments section there. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about theater today. I'm pretty excited about today's guest. So I met my guest today, Megan. I want to say maybe it's been a year. I don't know. It's the exact timeline, but I heard about what she's doing. Actually, I want to say I met her through some friends that I met about a year ago, and when I heard what she's doing, she's got a children's theater group. I thought, I got to have her on the show and talk about this. And we just, with school being in session and with COVID happening, we had to kind of schedule and wait for like the summer to start. So been able to get her on. So today I get to introduce to you Megan. So let me go ahead and bring her on here. Let's go ahead and turn that off here. Megan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing
I
well.
wanted to match my picture,
Okay, yeah.
my headshot.
Oh, awesome. So there's a little joke about like if you're on Twitter, that Twitter has that little circle thing, and so when you meet people for the first time, you kind of put a circle around your eyes. You kind of like to make sure that that's the person. That's the person. So how's everything going?
It's going good. It was a busy day. My niece is in town,
Hmm.
and so whenever any of my nieces or nephews come into town, they get to go to the theater and help me clean, which is
Awesome.
every kid's dream.
Did they enjoy it?
So we were putting away costumes
Oh,
today.
nice.
Yeah. So
So,
she was thrilled. She was so excited.
so when they put them away, did they actually like try them on as well?
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. My son was also with me. He's 7, and he likes to find all the props.
Okay.
And today he found this like arm thing, and it has a trigger on the inside, and it like pops off this bullet or whatever. This like fake hand. I don't know.
Okay.
People donate weird things to us, and we should not accept all of them, but we do because you're like, well,
You
of
never know.
course, one day I'm going to need this
Yeah.
arm thing that has a bullet that pops off.
That's interesting. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about yourself. Tell our audience a little about you.
Well, my name's Megan Dembski. I started acting when I was in 5th grade. Actually, I was a dancer before that, big time tap dancer. Oh, I tapped all the time, even on my dad's fishing boat, which he hated. And so my mom found this local children's theater, and she signed me up, and I started acting. I was I found my people,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I loved it and did it show after show after show after show, not only in school, but out of school. Lived in New York for 4 years, did my thing there. It was a very hard life. I discovered I am not the kind of actor that wants to starve for their art. I like nice dinners and a nice apartment. So I moved back to Dallas, and my mom and I decided to start a children's theater. We were particular in the way that we wanted to start our children's theater. I had taught children's theater for 10 years before then, and we wanted to do things differently. We wanted to do things our way, which is we wanted to keep it small. We wanted to make sure that we had enough time with our students that we could really get to know them. It's not just, come and do a show, but a lot of our students stay with us for the duration until they graduate high school. So it's like a lifelong mentorship program. And that's us.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to keep it small, and we've been around for 10 years, voted best children's theater in Plano 4 years in a row.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what I do. Mother, wife, daughter, all that lovely stuff.
Yeah. And so like when we were first introduced, we had some mutual friends, and who they're in Plano school districts of Plano in Texas. So those of you who are not familiar with Plano, we're saying Plano is like with Plano in Texas. So if you're not from Texas, just gonna let you know. When we met, and it was like a project, you were first they said, you have to meet Megan. She's doing an amazing thing. And so we connected and talked about what you were doing. And I was like, this is really cool. This is neat. And yeah, 10 years, that's a good time. That's a good length. So are the students, so you're not part of like a school district, this is like independent. Mm-hmm. And so is it done after school, weekends, or?
Yeah. Yeah. After school. So we have, we also teach in schools as some after school programming. But mostly the kids come to our theater after school, and there's a variety of different ways they can be a part of the theater. They can, we have smaller, what we call production classes, mm-hmm. that are based on a theme where the kids come every hour and a half. The first 30 minutes is warm up and game, and teaching like a theater exercise. And then they start working on their play, which most of the time they come up with the story.
Nice.
And it's the theater teacher's job to turn that into a script.
Okay.
It is so much fun. Wow. It's got the best ideas. And so they can either do that, or we also offer throughout the year, we do up to 11 main stage shows. So, and those are, the kids that want to have a more intense theater experience, they do those shows where we meet sometimes twice a week. And then at the end, like the Grundlers, mm-hmm. they're involved in that program. And then at the end, we put on a show for 2 weekends for parents and public and all that.
I'll need to make a point and make it out to a show.
You should. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Even though it says children's theater, our students will knock your socks off. No. They are so amazingly talented. I can't tell you how many times people come up to me and say, I was coming to the theater. I really thought it was going to be like oh, those kids were cute. Like, look how sweet they are. But I am blown away at how amazing they are. I'm like,
they bring it.
Yes, don't underestimate these storytellers.
A couple questions. So as you were talking, so it made me think. I guess I got a couple questions. So one is, so the name Genesis. So I'm curious. So is that reference like the beginning, Genesis? Okay.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. My mom woke up one morning, and because we had kind of we had talked about starting a theater. And one moment that morning, she woke up and she said, God just put it on my heart. And she just said, Genesis.
Genesis, cool.
The beginning, the rebirth.
The rebirth, nice. And so the other question, because I wanted to, you mentioned it and it kind of made me kind of think. So you mentioned the students will create kind of a story. So let's talk a little bit about the creative process right here. It was a nice segue there. So what are some parameters for them creating this? Do you have any, or is it, so how do you go about having them create a story?
I think it's different for each class. And I've tried a variety of different ways to do it. Sometimes if it's a known story, like let's say we do a story of Peter Rabbit, then, we'll kind of, I'll get them up and we'll start improvising it, like, okay, well, you're this character and you're this character and you're this character and what's the problem? What's going on? Oh, well, this is the problem. And so we'll just play pretend until they kind of get stuck. And then I'll say, okay, well then what happens next? And then they're like, they choose this or they choose that. And sometimes that's really successful. Sometimes we sit in a circle and I have a big whiteboard and we kind of storyboard it and we all share our ideas, and it's important to build on each other's ideas rather than tearing them down and saying, well, that's impossible or that can't happen. It's kind of my job to say, that's an interesting idea. Let's explore that. How can we make this work? How can we make all the ideas, count? Now, some of them are wacky and we can't do it, but they kind of come to that conclusion on their own.
Okay.
And so then we just kind of narrow it down. And then sometimes from that process, I'll say, okay, well, what could your character say when they encounter this problem? And they'll give me a line and I'm typing away at my computer. So a lot of times they'll just give you the lines and you write them down and you pretty it up and you kind of put a story around it. But, I would say that we also do improv games, just total improv that have nothing to do with the actual story. So they can kind of learn, beginning, middle, and end, problem, solution, and they can kind of understand the parameters and the context before you actually get into the storytelling of the theme that they've signed up for.
And I think I'm glad you shared that, because that's I think anyone who's really looking at sharing a story of their own, this is like a great tip. I think that's you kind of improv, keep going, take something until you get stuck, and then you start thinking of different, what do we do next? Where do we go? And it's probably a great exercise to use in the classroom if you give it a try, or even someone, like I said, someone who's working on just creating a story of their own or sharing their story. Where when you get stuck, what are some possibilities? Which I almost think of it as remember that Choose Your Own Adventure book? It's like, okay, we'll go this way or that way. I don't know if I can say that, like, if it's a copyrighted term.
Copyright.
If you can say that or not, but
choose your own journey.
Yeah, take your trip. Yeah, take your own trip somewhere or something like that. But this is really amazing. I've had your website up here and I'm just kind of looking at it. Like it's a ton. So how do you support for the Genesis Children's Theater? How do you funding? I'm curious, in case anyone's listening, how do you get funding? How do you get support for it?
Yeah, well, we take all kinds of money. Any kind of money you want to give us, we will take it.
Awesome.
So we are a nonprofit. And we've gotten several grants, amazing partnerships. And but the major way that we pay for our camps is tuition. Okay. So the tuition, the tuition is obviously the teacher salary, the costumes, the props, just the facility rental. And then if they are in a licensed production, like for instance, we are about to do Alice in Wonderland Junior, the Disney version, and their tuition covers royalties, costume, set, teacher pay, all that kind of stuff. And then we have once a year, we have, and ticket sales is where we make our money. So the tuition really covers the cost of the production. And a lot of people don't know that it takes between $10,000 and $15,000 to produce one musical.
Wow. And this is one of your musicals.
Right. Yes. Wow. Yeah. And yeah, it's expensive. Yeah. So our ticket sales are our profit, you know, what we can roll into the next.
Good.
And then once a year we have our Black and White Cabaret. And this is my favorite event. It kind of grows. It does. It doesn't kind of. It grows every year. But the idea is we take all of the students from the past years and each one of their casts, and they get to revive a musical number from their show, put it on again, and then it's a night for fundraising. We have kids that audition to do dance numbers and solos and duets. We also have one of our students, or sometimes a duo, host the evening. So you know, it's kind of like, I tell people it's like the Tony Awards, except without awards. We just celebrate. We do a big senior, you know, we really do a senior montage. We celebrate our seniors that year. And then we have silent auctions and things like that. So we rely on ticket sales, donations, our yearly event. And then the Black and White Cabaret, the main purpose for it is scholarships. So any student that cannot pay tuition, we do not turn them away. We give them scholarships. So yeah, we have payment plans. Like we never want tuition or financial burden to be, you know, a reason why somebody doesn't come to the theater.
Yeah.
So.
That sounds well. I pulled up the site again, so if anyone's watching and interested in donating, I also have the link in the chat there, so check it out if you want to support Genesis Children's Theater. Here's an opportunity. So, yeah, this is amazing. And so, what are some projects you've been kind of working on? And I think we kind of connected on one of I know it was kind of on one of the projects you were working on, and with we talked about earlier, you know, that the elephant in the room is like this COVID thing. It's like it really threw a curveball for schools and businesses, and obviously for your theater. So let's share what, you know, what's something that you were working on. And I know, because I was like,
I sent you a panic email.
We're kind of putting something together, and so can you share what was that like, that little project that
Yeah. So we were in rehearsal for Wizard of Oz, and the week we were supposed to go into what we call Tech Week. And Tech Week is when you put all the elements of the play together: costumes, props, the lights, the set. You know, we have stagehands. You know, we're putting the show together. The week before that happened, COVID hit. And so we were halted. We had all these people, you know, we were sold out. People had bought tickets. You know, the kids were ready to perform. Yeah. And then it was snuffed out from under them. So at first we tried to postpone it a week. Like, you know, okay, we don't really know what's going on. So can we push this entire group of kids? Do you have availability to now move your show? And they were okay with that. And then it was like, no, that is not in the cards. We are not getting back to the theater anytime soon. And so just in the spirit of honoring them, all the hard work that they have done, I couldn't just cancel. A lot of schools had to just cancel. Yeah. There's no second opportunity. But I didn't want to do that. So that's when I started researching Zoom and how other people were using Zoom in a theatrical way.
Yeah.
I found this Shakespeare company in London that was really doing some awesome stuff that I hadn't seen before, because I'd never really used Zooms, but they were using their camera, turning on and off their camera to exit the stage or to enter the stage.
Okay.
And so I thought, wow, that's so exciting. So we decided to go, to Zoom it.
Yeah.
But the hitch is, you cannot sync voices and music of 30, let alone 2 people.
Yeah.
You cannot sync it online. So then we had to go to another phase where we would Zoom their scenes. And I was all into looking at, how different people, particularly like YouTubers, how do they create the backgrounds and how do you layer effects and all that kind of stuff. I had no idea. So I found OBS, Open Broad. Yeah,
Yeah, OBS.
Yeah. So I had no idea what that was, but taught myself OBS because I had taught myself Photoshop. And so it's basically kind of the same ideas. And so they did their scene work via OBS, and then they had to learn new choreography that could fit within the Zoom window.
Oh, wow.
And they had to put their headphones in with the music, but then record themselves only with their voice doing the choreography. So then I took all 26 of those videos and I had to sync up each one of them to, this is my younger class. So some of them didn't get the earphones in. Some of them recorded half the video, and some of them, so it was a puzzle to put them all together. But I finally did it, made a whole movie of Wizard of Oz. Wow. And then we shared our final product on our private little Facebook group just for the family. So
that's so cool.
Yeah,
I remember you email, and it's like, how do I splice it together? And I actually, funny thing you say that, a while back I did something similar with this. I did this thing on Twitter. It's called Sing a Song. It's like I shared a tweet, and there's a software called Flipgrid where people like record video and audio, and what would happen if we all sing a song? So there was like a theme once that I say, hey everybody, let's, like, there's a special one I created with that Justin Timberlake song, What a Feeling, I Got a Feeling.
Yeah.
And so I had said, okay, everybody sing this song, and it was the same thing. Is like, so what I was going to try to do is like put them all on one video, but the audio they weren't like all matching up, and it was a like you said, a puzzle, putting it all together. I think I got to the point where I put it together, and it took, with trying to do work and other things, I actually never got it out, because it was just like it was one of those projects that I was like, I just have to abandon it. And then because I probably won't be able to share it anyways, because it's going to have copyrighted music. And so I was like, well, it was a great idea. And I was like, well, so when you talked about that, when you came with that question, I was like, okay, I've done it, so I can kind of help out. But you got to finish it, so kudos to you.
I know, my poor MacBook, it was just, I was on the struggle bus.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So what are some other projects you're, I know we talked a little bit about, because, COVID happening, but you talked before you're going to open back up.
Yeah. So, well, the other project that I want to talk about is, every Saturday, this has always been a dream of mine, is to do, a play read, have a play reading group. A lot of our seniors going to college, they need to have classical monologues, contemporary monologues, Shakespearean, all these different kinds of monologues. And they have been mostly focused on musical theater. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted to expose them to a lot more plays. Well, actually, COVID was the perfect time. I was, wanting to find a way that we could connect to more people, to give me a project, because I will go insane if I don't have something creative to do. So every Saturday we do a play read, and we have one rehearsal, and then Saturday we go live, and we read all different kinds of classic, contemporary, modern plays. And it's the second play that we did is called The Women. And it was a cast of 25 women. And so it gave me the opportunity to reach out to all the women directors, creators, teachers, artists that I had been working with throughout the years, and invite them all to be a part of this play. They each had their part. Some of them hadn't acted in years, and would never have gotten this opportunity. But I was able to get all of these women that, we'd never be able to perform in real life together, to come together and share in this experience. So that was a lot of fun to bring all those people together. But yes, so we are opening in July 6th.
That's awesome. That's, it's funny to say. So I love watching movies and stuff. So there's a theater right by my house, and I heard that they might not open, and I got an email. So, we're opening. I'm like, opening soon. So July. So, And
we've been slow to open. There's been some other companies around that have opened, but we've been slow. But
and then seating and everything, that's probably going to be a whole different ball game. And
I'm just taking my son to the grocery store a couple of weeks ago, and the fact that his mask was too big, it was annoying his eyes, and he just got so frustrated about it.
Yeah.
So then imagine that times 10 in a classroom. And trying to, what kind of emotion do you have right now?
I can't see. Well, and if they wear glasses like I do, those glasses get fogged up with a mask, and there's just no way out of it. It's like, I guess if anybody that's listening, if you can create a mask that doesn't get foggy glasses, I bet there's probably some out there. I just haven't looked. Probably have to spend more money.
I did see a mask at one of our other directors. She's going to see if she can get her friend to do it, but it's a mask, but it has a clear window for people that are hearing impaired read lips.
Yeah.
And so there is an open, or not open, but a clear covering, which is interesting.
Yeah, I saw a meme. You remind me of a meme. I saw somebody had a mask and this lady actually, she just cut a slit in the mask so she can talk. And I was like, well, that defeats the purpose of the mask. That's just hilarious and so funny. This is this venture that this kind of, like you said, your mom woke up and thought, this is the name of it. Genesis is the beginning of this, and to 10 years to do this. And I know it's not easy to do something like this for a length of time. And I'm assuming you've had great support, and the students enjoy doing this, and the COVID having stalled it. And so this was one of those things where you'll come back with a great, I guess, appreciation of this, the students of theater. But so if someone were to, let's say if someone listening and someone who's maybe I've been interested in getting into theater, but I'm not I don't want to be in front, I don't want to be in act, and I don't want to be acting in front of people. There are ways that people can participate without even acting, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think that one of my teachers years ago told me, when you watch the credits at the end of the movie, the first second is the actor.
Yeah.
Then you continue on, and it's all the other people that are involved.
Mm-hmm.
And the same is for theater as well. Lighting technicians, sound technicians, stage managers, front of house managers, back of house managers, company managers, artistic directors. There are so many ways that you can be involved in the theater. Painters, set designers. I mean, just the list goes on. Marketing, for theater, all different kinds of ways that you can be creative. So my suggestion would just be to seek out a local theater near you and call them, or show up and say, hey, I'm interested. Is there any kind of internship program, or who can I talk to? And this is my resume. This is how I want to volunteer my time. Is a good way. If you have no experience at all, I would say, find out when their set build is. Find out if you can usher one night, and start to get to know the people. And but if you're a student, go take a tech theater class at your school, or find a local children's theater. We have an intern program every summer where our students get trained on our lights, our sound, how to do a playbill, sewing and props and sets. And, we rely heavily on them. And, and they work towards, we pay them in tuition credit.
Okay. That's awesome. So, you talked about like the lighting. So almost a year ago, I got to go to this conference down in Austin, and the school that it was a high school. It was like all bells and whistles, and they had it was in their theater, and they had they did an example of their lighting show. So they had the students created the show just for that conference, and it was amazing. So it was like they had the lights doing the dance, and it was just, so I can imagine the creative process behind the lighting. So we want to make sure that light follows that actor, do this, and then smoke coming out in the back, and then sound, and if there's rumble or anything like that, that's there's a ton out there for creative folks that that you don't have to be up in front of the front stage and stand and look at the audience, and you can be behind.
Well, and you're so right about that. Is that I also run my light board and do sound design. I mean, we have to do everything: costume design, set, painting. I mean, we do it all. But there is so much artistry and storytelling with lighting design, with sound design. I mean, you're not just flipping on the lights. You are creating shadows, and you're creating, a story with light and texture. And when you move, when you pull lights up on a scene like that, that's powerful. When you do a quick blackout, that tells a story. So absolutely. There's storytelling and everything.
And I love telling stories. I love video, and I love editing, and like everything you say, like the fade in and fade out, and just the quick motion, and everything to just make that story in kind of engage the audience. And Megan, this has been amazing. This is what you're doing, I think is awesome. And get to open back up, which is pretty awesome for you. So the summer of 2020, and keeping fingers crossed and knocking on wood that everything goes somewhat back to normal, like as it can be. As it can be. Looking at our time, so we're close to. It's been a great discussion. I've enjoyed this chat and this perspective from theater. So, I guess for me, theater, I guess I would, if you're watching, it's one of the things that I have a hard time getting into, not because I don't think it's an art. It's for me, I have to learn to appreciate it a little more myself. And so like my wife and daughter, they love I enjoyed watching Elf, like I mentioned earlier, like going to the theater, and I was like, well, we got to go watch this. I'm like, well, okay, well, maybe. So I'm going to make a promise to you that I will make an effort on if maybe for me, what I'll do is I'll watch the musicians, I'll watch the other parts of the show, that intrigues me.
I
'Cause
do that
like,
too. I do
like
that
the
too.
sound, I like the music, I like lighting, and so that's probably where I will probably be more intrigued myself as well as the story. But this is amazing stuff that you're doing, and in this group within Plano. So if you are in Plano and watching this, listening, check out the Genesis Children's Theaters. Is a really cool thing. And if you're watching and listening, want to support it, also check it out. A couple chatted a little bit about this before, so a couple things. And what are like some favorites maybe? And I think we talked about it earlier, and whatever comes to your mind is fine. So what are like some of your favorite, and maybe I won't say film, but maybe I'll say maybe one of your favorite plays. Maybe I'll do that for you instead of
okay. Well, okay. Can you ask me what my favorite musical is?
Okay, how about favorite musical? We'll do that.
Okay. That would be Sunday in the Park with George.
Okay.
Based on Seurat's painting. His it's not pixelated. Somebody in the comments will know. Mandy Patinkin and Bernadette Peters, they starred in it the first time.
Okay. I've heard of, so Mandy I know him from The Princess Bride and all the stuff. He's an amazing actor. So I'm gonna Google his name to the musical so I can like. So what is it? Sunday in the Park? You said
Sunday in the Park with George. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then I think my favorite play would probably be it's a play called The Shadow Box.
Okay.
Follows three different families and people in a hospice in their last days. And it's incredibly powerful and moving, and still speaks to me today.
So like I said, I like Mandy Patinkin, so you may have hooked me there.
Good.
For the musical. So and I know and so how about a book? Is there any book that you
my favorite book that I read over and over again is East of Eden, John Steinbeck.
John Steinbeck, yeah. So
yeah.
He wrote what else
did he write? Wrath.
Grapes of Wrath and the Pearl, right?
Yes, I do believe so. Yeah.
I think it was the Pearl. He's from he was in California, I think. If I'm thinking John Steinbeck. Yes, there's a big trophy. There's a big statue of him in, I think, upper in California somewhere, the Bay Area.
Oh.
I think that's cool. I hope I'm not confusing him with someone else, John Steinbeck. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm pretty sure.
You'll let us know in the comments.
I know. I'm like, oh. But so again, if someone wants to kind of get a hold of you and where can they find you? Where can they learn more about Genesis Children's Theater?
So we're on Facebook, YouTube. You can see clips of shows that we've done. You can see clips of our Black and White Cabaret fundraiser. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, our website, genesischildrenstheater.org. And then we have, you can sign up for a newsletter, and we keep everybody in the loop about things that are happening at the theater or different kind of projects that we're working on. We did a community Hamlet monologue where one student would record, this is COVID, they would record one line of the to be or not to be speech, and then we spliced it all together. We did a lip sync challenge to help raise money to keep our doors closed. So sign up for a newsletter, send us a contact us, all those places.
Awesome. So I put the site up there, so if anyone is watching, they could probably get to. I'm going to assume I'm looking at it right now. You can get to your Facebook page from there, from your site as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this has been awesome. Just to get a look into the whole creative process behind the theater, and thank you so much for coming on and sharing. I can tell you're passionate about this, and it's when someone's passionate about it, just shows. And look at Genesis Children's Theater, what you've created is for 10 years has been amazing. That's awesome. Hats off. But yeah, thank you. Appreciate you coming on the show and sharing. Um, any last words for our guest?
Yeah, I would just like to say, find your people. Find your people in life. Keep your relationships. Relationships are the most important thing. Kind to each other. Listen more than you talk.
Yeah, that's key. Listen.
And don't stop being inspired. I have to seek out. I enjoy seeking out new ideas and want to be open to being inspired by new art forms and new ways that people are doing things. And so just keep being.
Yeah, and well, I'm gonna say for me, you've my wife's probably gonna be like, "Yay, you're gonna watch it with us, or you're gonna go." I broaden my horizons.
Yeah.
I love music. I love music, and so that's just gotta get. I just gotta do it. I gotta do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, and you just need to find. You need to find your musical. You need to find, what makes you excited.
Yeah.
So, maybe Elf wasn't your thing. So
yes,
that's cool. It doesn't mean you don't like theater. It just means that you weren't inspired by Elf or whatever,
That's funny. Well, thanks again, Megan, for coming on, and for all of you who've been watching and hanging with us, and for those of you who will watch it on replay, thank you so much for taking the time to spend this time kind of listening to our discussion about creativity, about theater in this case. And if you are again watching on YouTube, if you have not done so, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share it with others. This is there's so much great information happening here. And you can support programs like Megan's Genesis Children's Theater. So thank you again, everyone, for stopping by. We'll see you hopefully next week. Peace. Yeah.